we've been away in Scotland this past almost month, there was one little niggle that kept raising its head. I kept all the bread etc. on the end of the bench nearest the kitchen, which meant if Bernie was sitting on that bench where his hands are now, I couldn't get into the bench to get the bread out. So thinking caps on as usual, and we have now done this.
So what we've decided to do is, when it was in one piece like that, you had to lift the whole bench to get into anything that might be in that corner. So we thought, would it be possible to maybe cut the top section in half? So what I've done is, with my trusty old jigsaw, managed to cut a section and made it into two pieces. Like so. So now, if we want bread or anything, all we need to do is lift one side up while the dog is still asleep on this side, get what we need out of there, drop it back down again. So what I'm going to do now, once that's done, is I'm just going to put some grey paint along the edge of each piece, just to blend it in with the grey.
Yeah, because we haven't got any of that.
That's
got
no, I don't have any.
No
I do
finishing
have a little
strip,
bit, but not enough.
Yeah, and like you say, I think it would actually make it stiff to open, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. That's excellent. That's a real game changer.
You can either get into that section if you want. Like Tina says, that we keep bread and anything like that in there that we use a lot of, or you can move the dog over to that side and
it's
get
brilliant.
into this side separately.
Love it.
And it doesn't affect.
No, I've sat on it and it doesn't move.
It's still solid.
And to be fair, we tend not to sit on that end too much anyway, do we? That's
no.
That's fantastic.
It's just something that suits us, works for us.
Brilliant. So to protect the floor behind this driver and passenger seats, we have this rubber matting. This is our compressor fridge. It sits behind the driver's seat when we're travelling, but once we get on site or at the side of the road for brewing up etc., we drop the seats and put the boards out, so it then lives underneath. But the problem we've got with it living under there is there isn't sufficient clearance under that bench to be able to lift the lid, and it's very stiff. And the problem that we had was, quite often Bernie'd be sitting on this bench here, and he'd have to move. He'd have to either reach down the side behind him, which you have to be a contortionist to do, or get out, walk round, open the door, and then he'd grab his side and I'd grab mine. And this wasn't easy when the fridge was full, and we had to lift it far enough for it to clear this top here. And as you can see, the other problem we've got is, because the footwell slopes,
it's not level.
It's not level, and you still can't really successfully open the door to get things out. It was just a nuisance. So as in the true Other-Windsors style, we put thinking caps on.
Yep, so we came up with another solution, a board. So I shaped this piece of board. I put a cutout here to fit around the central console, and then curved it and shaped it at the end so it would fit round the inside of the car door. Underneath I put some lightweight 1.25 inch timber, one section down the full length, one across the end, for the reason being the floor slants, and the idea of this would be to level up on the floor.
So now the fridge is sitting on top of the board that Bernie made, and I'm in the kitchen and I'm making stuff. I don't have to ask Bernie to move to get out in the rain or anything like that. All I have to do now is just reach down, grab the handle and pull. And it's brilliant. And because it's level, it's a lot easier to manoeuvre. I can open the lid, get out what I need, pop it back down, slide it back away, and it's as easy as that. The other thing that we've noticed as well is, because this board is now higher than the original rubber matting, so what we say, a couple of inches probably, it means that this fridge can now slide further back than it used to. If you see where it is now, Bernie will push it out to where it used to be. It used to live about there, and you can see that really does restrict your way into this gangway. But now it's higher and we can push it back further. We've gained, I would say, about 4 or 5 inches there.
The other thing is, when you look at the height of the board, you would think that that would be a tripping hazard, but it isn't. We've been away for a month and we've never even
not a problem.
had any problem with that, have we?
And to be fair, it's a darn sight easier to sweep off that than it is to get all the grit out of that rubber matting. So that's something else we might have to think about, because although it protects the carpets underneath, it doesn't really work that well. But this does, and it's been a real game changer. Because we wanted to use our van without the whole of the van being made into a double bed each night, we changed the supplied boards. We replaced them with a couple of cupboard shelving that we got from B&Q. If you've watched the van tour, you'll see why we did this. Yeah. Whilst we thought these were really good, they did have the downsides as well. They're extremely heavy, and we had to store them in the upright position behind the seats when we were driving. So we didn't really gain that much. We were hoping, because we didn't have the roof box, that these would sort the problem, and to a degree they did, but we thought there must be still a better way than that. So we suddenly remembered that the boards that came supplied with the kit from Chapel were stored under our double bed, because we didn't really want to get rid of them, because we didn't know if we might want to make it up as a double. But having used it as the 2 singles, we couldn't see we were going to do that. So we thought, maybe we could use them.
So all we did was take off the thin end and the piano hinge, the ends with the slide bolts we removed, which left us with these 2 boards, very similar to the heavier boards that we use to make up the single beds. The only difference being they're a lot lighter, and they also had the advantage of folding, which made them a lot easier for storing, as we'll show you later. So we did exactly the same. We put non-slip rubber matting on, and then edged it on either side with
Velcro.
I always forget that.
That stuff you can never remember the name of.
That stuff I can never remember the name of.
Velcro.
So it works in exactly the same way. Velcroed on like so.
It looks identical.
Over the top.
Looks identical, doesn't it?
Yep.
And it works identically. But it has an advantage.
The advantage being, whereas we used to have to store the heavier boards up behind the passenger seat and then put something in to stop them falling over, the advantage with these ones, they fold, which makes them easier to store down the centre, one on either side.
That's just brilliant, that, isn't it? They're not in the way at all, are they?
Not in the way. It gives us room down there to store other things.
We have put the levelers
like
down there,
the
chocks
levelers,
and that.
the wheel chocks and everything, anything else like that.
Brilliant. Good update, that one. We hope you've enjoyed the video and you find these little adjustments useful in some way. If you did, please like and subscribe. And until next time, The-Other-Windsors.